We are working on creating our own colonies. Each colony should have its own flag. This screencast should help you come up with a creative and unusual idea for your own flag. Here is a brief history of flags. A flag should embody the hope and aspirations of a country or state. It's more than just an emblem. Here is a link you can click on for a history, a little more history about the flag and other examples. Let's take a brief trip around the world just to look at some unusual cool flags, and this will help your creativity. Here's a flag of Mozambique and a brief explanation of what the flag represents. The green stands for the riches of the land, the white fimbriation signify peace, black represents the African continent, yellow symbolizes the country's minerals, and red represents the struggle for independence. This explanation also talks about the rifles, that it stands for defense and vigilance. This is a good example of what a explanation or description of your flag should look like. It does not have to have these same components. As long as you are following the rubric, you should be fine. Here is the flag of the Republic of Venice. The winged lion represents the evangelist Saint Mark. This flag did not have a lot of description about the colors or any of the other symbols on the flag. This is not a good example, or actually it's a good example of what you should not do. Your flag should be more descriptive of your colony. Here's a flag of the Isle of Man. The 3 armored legs with golden spurs up on a red background. There were a lot of theories about what this flag symbolizes. One of them being that the 3 armored legs represent the troops, and the fact that there are 3 legs represents the Holy Trinity. But there were other explanations for this symbol, but that's just one of them. And this is, I just thought this was a creative flag, something you could look at. It's very unusual from the flags that we're used to seeing. Here is the Kingdom of Ireland's flag. The harpist represents King David, and it reflects the prestige of the musician. This was one of the only flags that used a musical instrument to represent some type of meaning. Here's one more flag of Burma, also known as Myanmar. I thought this was a very unusual flag. The peacock represents an old king, and this was another country that changed their flag many times. But here we are again, not a lot of description, and this is an example of something you don't want. I'm showing you these flags just so it can help pique your creativity and to let you know that it does not have to be plain and boring. You can be very creative. There's no right or wrong here. As long as it represents your colony, says something about your colony, and that you give a very good detailed description of every component. Now that you've had a chance to see some, get some ideas, what will your flag look like? Now your creative wheels should really be spinning now, because it's time to move into your own creation. To help you out a little bit with your descriptions, this book will give you some examples step by step on how you can explain the things you want to include in your flag. There are several copies of this book in the class library, and you will have access to them. The author of this book is Sylvie Bednar, and here's a picture of Miss Bednar. She's a designer and author, and she likes to write about voyages through Australia, Iceland, and Mexico. She loves flags, and this is how she got into writing a book about flags. This is a flag of Sicily, Italy, but here this link will just give you a plethora of cool flags to look at, and that will help give you some ideas. So go ahead, take your time, and look through this screencast. If you have to go over it several times or just certain parts of it, feel free, take your time at the hyperlinks, and after the screencast I should see some wonderful, cool flags. No flag should be boring. This is a video of the top 15 flags. I put this at the end so that you would not have to pause the screencast, and you should take a quick look at this just again to make sure you take advantage of all of the resources before you begin creating your flag, just to really give you a lot of ideas to create your own flag. Last but not least, here is your rubric. Make sure you include each component in your flag, and take a look at the explanations next to the numbers so that you can just kind of be sure you can get the maximum amount of points, or at least get as close as you can. Okay, so now you're ready.